Hi guys, Chris Labardi from Viper. Just wanted to give you 5 good reasons why you should be using the DS4 as your go-to solution for remote start this season. Reason number 1, platform flexibility. When it comes to the platform flexibility of the DS4, a lot of that really comes from the installer's point of view. When they first plug in the module on the workstation to go through the flashing process, or if they're in a busy bay and they only have access to one computer, they have the option to use a cell phone, a tablet to do the same flashing process. But really what we want to talk about is how flexible this platform really is. When we first start looking at this, we've plugged in the module and we've started going down the list, as you can see here on the right, where we've just basically chose this is the type of vehicle we're installing on and chose some very basic settings of the DS4. Are we going to plug in a peripheral? Are we going to use any remotes? But more importantly, we're going to get to this system configuration page, where this is where we really get to deep dive in and see how flexible these modules truly are. If we look here at security features on this very first option, we can expand this. And when we do, we see this gets really back into the older generation analog type of functions, where we look at a very basic level, how do we want this to behave? How do we want starter kill to behave? Do we want to integrate nuisance prevention? Do we want to go into look at different confirmation chirps, door triggers, those type of things? And all of these are very, very flexible with different options, and they give you a brief explanation as to what the actual feature is and what you might want to choose there for your vehicle. Outside of security, we drop down to convenience features. And this is going to be very, again, similar to those same analog feature sets that we carried over to this platform. We wanted it to be very modern, but we also wanted it to be very intuitive. For those who have been using Viper platforms for many, many years, we wanted it to feel like they were right at home. So when we look at this, you see things like door lock pulses, ignition control dome light, different aux channels, how you want them to behave, whether it's linking or you just want them to be their own validity or one-time press type of auxiliary channel. And all of these are really, really easy to change, and they correspond with the programmable inputs and outputs that we would run into further down. When we get into the remote start features, that same type of behavior gets carried over. How long do we want this vehicle to run for? It's as easy as changing it here in 1-minute increments. And it can go all the way out to an hour-long increments, or dial it down to 1 minute just for testing purposes in the bay. You can also look at different things. How do we want this module to see if the vehicle is running? Do we want to use voltage? Do we want to use a true tach signal? Do we want to use a virtual tach, which is pretty exclusive to this platform and the Viper line of products? Then we look at some things like when we're installing this, are we doing some manual transmission vehicles? If we are, we look at how we want to engage those when the vehicle is starting. Data sense configuration. So this is a good one. When we get into this, this is really where you see how modern this platform is and how far the remote starts have evolved. Here we're looking at the CAN wires that we connect in the vehicle. What do we want these actually looking for? Do we want this to see when the vehicle is locking, unlocking? Do we want to see when a hood is open or closed? All of these things should, for the most part, be enabled by default from the native function of the firmware. But if you choose that, hey, this isn't the best solution for this vehicle, you can come in here and really tell the DS4, this is what I want you to look for, and this is what I don't. Input and output configuration. This is where we're going to look at our 22-pin and our 10-pin plug, and in some cases even our 8-pin plug, where we're going to look at, here's all the wires that are left over. The firmware really starts with a baseline of this is what we need for the firmware to work the way we need it to, but here's all the wires that are kind of on the outliers of these are more flexible. These are ones that you can change to really fit the needs of the install you're doing. And last but not least, some basic data feature configurations. These are things that the vehicle can do natively, and we just tell the vehicle, yes, we want you to do it or not based off of the setting that you choose here. Reason number 2, upgradability. The upgradability of the DS4 platform is where it really shines. You may have a consumer that comes in and wants to use their OE remote to power this thing, right? So lock, unlock, 3 times lock to get this thing started, no aftermarket remote. They just want to remote start the vehicle in their driveway, and that might be the solution they're looking for. So in that case, you sell it to them. Let's say that customer decides, hey, I really would like some further range. Maybe they get a new job where they're parking further away from where they're typically remote starting at home, or maybe they're traveling to and from airports and so forth. They might want longer range. And where that really comes in here is the DS4 is automatically set up in a way that you can easily add on any of our digital RF kits or even our VSM 550, our telematics piece for unlimited range. Beyond that, the security upgradability of this platform is also incredibly easy. The DS4 SU is a prepackaged digital shock, tilt, and temp sensor with an included siren. And it's as simple as making the changes that we talked about as far as the security settings and plugging these two pieces in, and you got full security added on. Reason number 3, T-harnesses. The DS4 platform is also really designed to be used with our T-harness solution. Sure, you can do a hardwired solution like you can on any of our other platforms, where you have to go in and manually make all of your individual wiring connections in the vehicle. That's all obviously a lengthy and a little bit intrusive way of doing the install when a T-harness can be used. We have, at this time, roughly 40 T-harnesses released and just over 500 vehicle compatibility there. And we're always evolving. Every time we come out with a new firmware, as vehicles are released year after year, we're constantly in development of making sure we have as many T-harness solutions for this platform as possible. Reason number 4, tech support. So when we talk about tech support, that really encompasses a lot of different things, right? When we say tech support, the first thing that we think about is being able to call in and getting a solution right there on the phone. When you're working with a very long time veteran installer who's so familiar with the product, they should be able to help you through any situation that you're facing. We also recently adapted a chat solution where we can offer chat support in multiple different languages, which has been a very big success for those in Canada. Beyond that, when we talk about support, I also really like to talk about the amount of resources that go into developing some of the behind the scene things. So when we talk about tech tip items, tech documents, all those resources that we embed for job aids into directtext.com. We recently just did a fairly lengthy job aid about relay attacks and can injection theft that has been very prevalent in Canada. All those types of resources come from the tech support team, and we're very proud of them. And reason number 5, applications. When it comes to vehicle applications that are supported by the DS4 platform, we're constantly expanding, whether it's coming out with new firmware for newly released vehicles or just doing rollovers from vehicles that have come from the previous year. We're going to take a look at that now. On the main site of DirectText, you're going to find that there's a banner that scrolls across the top here. To make those changes, you can go forward and backwards with these arrows here, but what we're looking for today is this New Vehicles Added tab. This is where we're continually updating the vehicles that we support and adding new solutions all the time. By clicking on this link, we'll dive right into that list. Starting here in September, last month, we show the vehicles that we ported onto the DS4 platform, a lot of these being 23 and 24 model vehicles. And as we keep scrolling down, we'll see here's the date that the vehicle was released, and here's all the solutions that we're continually bringing to this platform. Just from February through October, the backside of this month, we have countless new solutions added. Once again, guys, this is Chris Labardi from Viper. Hope you've had a good time looking at the 5 reasons to use the DS4 platform. Again, for more information, go to directtext.com.